When a man loves you, let me tell you. Let me start by saying this. Love is not a feeling we simply fall into. It's an act of courage. It's raw, imperfect, and unpolished, but when it's real, it's powerful. When a man loves you, let me tell you, it's not just about roses on Valentine's Day or candlelit dinners. Those are lovely, sure. But love, the kind that shakes the ground under your feet, is a daily commitment to showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. When a man loves you, he sees you. Not the Instagram perfect airbrushed version of you. The real you. The you that's messy, that's tired, that's wrestling with doubt, or laughing so loud it turns heads in a restaurant. He doesn't flinch at your vulnerability. In fact, he leans into it because he knows that's where real connection lies. But here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Love doesn't mean fixing. It doesn't mean trying to solve all your problems or carrying your load for you. When a man loves you, he walks beside you. He doesn't diminish your strength or independence, but he's not afraid to offer his hand when the weight of the world feels unbearable. He knows that love isn't about rescuing. It's about partnering. And when a man loves you, let me tell you, he's not perfect. Oh, there will be mistakes. Big ones, small ones, the kind that make you want to scream into a pillow. But the difference, he's willing to own them. He apologizes without excuses. He does the work to grow because love is not stagnant. It's a living, breathing thing that requires effort and humility. Love, real love, isn't about grand gestures. It's in the quiet moments. It's in the way he listens without interruption when you need to vent about your day. It's in the coffee he makes just the way you like it, or the text he sends when he knows you're overwhelmed. It's in the space he creates for you to be your most authentic self. But let me say this too, when a man loves you, it doesn't complete you. You are already whole. His love is not a missing puzzle piece. It's a mirror. A reflection that shows you how worthy, capable, and extraordinary you've always been. So, when a man loves you, let me tell you, it's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about standing beside you when the storms roll in and celebrating with you when the sun finally breaks through the clouds. It's about honoring you, your dreams, your struggles, your victories, all of it. And here's the catch. For this kind of love to thrive, you have to love yourself enough to believe you deserve it. Because you do. You absolutely do. Love isn't easy. It's not a fairy tale or a neatly wrapped box with a bow. But when it's real, when it's brave, and when it's honest, it's the most beautiful thing we can give and receive. So when a man loves you, let me tell you, cherish it, nurture it, show up for it. But most of all, believe in it. Because love like this, flawed, messy, and real, can change everything. Love is a daily act of courage, not just a feeling. We live in a world where love is often portrayed as this magical, effortless sensation that sweeps us off our feet and fixes everything. It's a story we see in movies, read in books, and dream about in quiet moments. But the truth is, love that lasts, love that matters, isn't something we simply fall into. It's something we choose every single day, even when it's difficult, even when it's uncomfortable. And even when it feels like the easier thing to do would be to step back and protect ourselves. It's easy to think of love as a feeling because feelings are fleeting. And we like to believe that love, like joy or excitement, should always be easy. But feelings are reactive. They depend on circumstances, on moods, on how things are going in a particular moment. Real love doesn't work that way. Real love is proactive. It's not about waiting for the stars to align or for someone to be everything you imagine them to be. It's about showing up day after day and saying, I'm here, I'm in this, I choose you, even when there are storms, even when the path forward feels uncertain. Choosing love takes courage because it requires vulnerability. It asks us to open up parts of ourselves that we often work hard to protect. It's a leap into the unknown, trusting that another person will hold those tender, imperfect parts of us with care. And let's be honest, there's always a risk. We risk disappointment, misunderstanding, and even heartbreak. But courage isn't about being fearless, it's about acting despite fear. To love fully, to show up for another person with your whole heart, is one of the bravest things you can do. This daily act of courage also means facing your own imperfections. It means acknowledging that love isn't about always being right or getting your way. It's about compromise, patience, and learning to communicate through misunderstandings. Love requires you to sit in the discomfort of hard conversations, to admit when you're wrong, and to listen deeply when you might prefer to defend yourself. This kind of bravery doesn't come naturally to many of us. It's a practice, one that requires humility and a willingness to grow. Courage in love also means letting go of the myths and expectations we often cling to. It's tempting to believe that love should be easy, that the right person will always know exactly what you need without you having to say a word. But true love isn't about reading minds or avoiding conflict. It's about doing the work to build something meaningful and enduring. And doing the work takes effort, patience, and yes, bravery. Love doesn't just happen. It's a choice, a courageous, imperfect, beautiful choice. To truly love someone and to allow yourself to be loved in return is to step into the unknown with open hands and an open heart. Real love sees and embraces your authentic self. In a world that constantly tells us to curate, edit, and filter our lives, the idea of being truly seen can feel both liberating and terrifying. We often carry an unspoken fear that if someone saw all of us, the messy parts, the insecurities, the unpolished edges, they might turn away. And so we build walls. We present the version of ourselves that feels safe, the one that fits neatly into the expectations of others. But real love is not about fitting into a mold. It's about breaking down those walls piece by piece and allowing someone to witness the full, unfiltered truth of who we are. When someone loves you deeply, they see beyond the surface. They see the version of you that exists on your worst days, the one that's not always smiling or perfectly composed. They see the parts of you that are complicated, the moments when you're struggling to hold it all together. And instead of retreating, they lean in closer. They don't demand perfection or expect you to have it all figured out. In fact, they honor the parts of you that are still growing, still evolving. They understand that your imperfections are not flaws to fix, but layers that make you human. Love that sees you fully is also about acceptance. It's not about tolerating who you are, it's about celebrating it. It's about recognizing your quirks and idiosyncrasies and loving you not in spite of them, but because of them. Maybe you overthink things or laugh at the wrong moments. Maybe you're passionate about topics most people don't care about, or you snort when you laugh too hard. Real love doesn't roll its eyes at these traits. It embraces them because they are part of what makes you you. And it's not just about the joyful parts of who you are. True love also holds space for your pain, your past, and your doubts. It doesn't shy away from the baggage you carry. It helps you unpack it. It creates a space where you feel safe enough to share your story without fear of judgment. There is no shame in the light of real love because real love understands that we all have wounds. And those wounds don't make us unlovable, they make us human. But being seen requires something from you, too. It requires vulnerability. It means letting go of the mask you've been wearing and trusting that someone can handle the real you. This is not easy. Vulnerability feels risky because it is. There's no guarantee that opening up won't hurt. But love cannot thrive in a space where we are hiding. To be loved for who you truly are, you must be willing to show who you truly are. When someone loves you authentically, they don't try to change you. They support your growth, yes, but they don't see you as a project to be improved. Instead, they reflect back your worth, reminding you of the beauty and strength you already possess. This kind of love isn't about fixing or completing you. It's about witnessing, accepting, and celebrating all that you are. Love is about partnership, not fixing or rescuing. Often society romanticizes the idea of someone swooping in to save us as though love is a rescue mission where one person heals all wounds and solves all problems. While it may sound like a fairy tale, this idea is not love. True love is not about fixing someone's broken parts or rescuing them from their struggles. Instead, it is about walking side by side, supporting each other through life's challenges, and creating a partnership rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Partnership in love means acknowledging that both people bring their unique strengths, weaknesses, and experiences to the table. No one person carries the entire weight of the relationship, and no one person is expected to be everything for the other. Love thrives when there is balance, when both individuals feel empowered to contribute in their own way, rather than one person taking on the role of the savior. When love turns into a dynamic of rescuing, it often creates dependency rather than genuine connection. True love does not diminish one person's independence or agency, it strengthens it. In a loving partnership, both people take responsibility for their own growth and well-being. This doesn't mean you can't lean on each other during difficult times. Leaning on each other is a natural and beautiful part of being in a relationship. But it means that you recognize your partner is not your therapist, nor are they a solution to your struggles. Similarly, you are not their therapist or solution. Real love is about supporting each other through growth, not forcing it or taking on the responsibility of fixing the other person. Partnership also requires communication. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't assume he knows what you need or try to fix things without asking. Instead, he listens. He values your perspective, your feelings, and your boundaries. He asks questions, engages with curiosity, and works with you to find solutions together. Love is not about one person being the problem solver. It's about two people collaborating to create a life they can both thrive in. The willingness to listen and work together is what transforms a relationship from something transactional into something deeply fulfilling. In a healthy partnership, love is a safe space where both people can be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. But vulnerability does not mean abandoning responsibility for your own emotions or struggles. It means being honest about what you're going through and trusting your partner to stand beside you, not to carry your weight, but to walk with you as you navigate it. A true partner doesn't solve your problems for you. They empower you to face them with courage and strength. When love becomes about fixing or rescuing, it creates an imbalance. One person begins to feel like a project, and the other becomes overwhelmed by the pressure to fix everything. True partnership rejects this imbalance. It thrives on equality, where both people feel seen, valued, and supported. It's about standing together, not one person towering above the other as the savior. Mistakes will happen, but accountability and growth are essential. No matter how deeply two people love each other, no relationship is immune to missteps. Humans are imperfect by nature, and so are the relationships we create. Miscommunication, hurt feelings, and moments of thoughtlessness are inevitable. What makes a relationship strong is not the absence of mistakes, but how those mistakes are handled. The key is accountability and the willingness to grow, both as individuals and as a couple. Accountability begins with owning your actions. When a mistake is made, it's easy to slip into defensiveness or denial. Many people instinctively try to justify their actions, explain their intentions, or shift the blame elsewhere. But love asks for more. Love requires that you pause, reflect, and take responsibility. This means acknowledging the harm caused, even if it wasn't intentional. It means resisting the urge to minimize the other person's feelings or sweep the issue under the rug. Real accountability is about saying, I see the impact of what I did, and I'm truly sorry. Accountability also requires humility. It's not easy to admit when you've hurt someone you care about. It can make you feel exposed, even ashamed, but love is not about being perfect, it's about being honest. When a man loves you, he doesn't let pride or ego stand in the way of repairing what's been broken. He doesn't approach apologies as mere words to smooth things over, but as an opportunity to make things right and rebuild trust. He understands that trust is fragile, and that every mistake, no matter how small, is a chance to either strengthen or weaken it. Growth, on the other hand, is what turns accountability into action. It's not enough to simply say, I'm sorry, and repeat the same behaviors. Love demands effort and a commitment to doing better. Growth means taking the time to reflect on the underlying causes of a mistake. Was it a lack of communication? A misunderstanding of boundaries? A moment of thoughtlessness or selfishness? Whatever the cause, growth involves identifying it and making intentional changes to prevent the same issue from recurring. This process is not always linear. Growth is messy, full of trial and error, and often requires patience from both people involved. When a man loves you, he understands that growth is a lifelong journey, not a one-time fix. He doesn't just focus on his own growth, but also supports yours. He creates space for you to voice your concerns, express your needs, and ask for what you deserve in the relationship. He listens not just to respond, but to truly understand, and he adapts his behavior accordingly. At the same time, growth is a shared effort. Relationships are a two-way street, and both people must be committed to learning from their mistakes. This doesn't mean keeping score or holding past mistakes over each other's heads. Instead, it's about creating an environment where accountability and growth are valued, not feared. It's about working together to build something stronger, knowing that every mistake is an opportunity to deepen your connection and mutual understanding. True love thrives in the small, quiet, consistent moments. It's easy to be swept away by the idea of grand gestures, the romantic getaways, elaborate surprises, or dramatic proclamations of love. While these moments can be beautiful, they are not the foundation of real, enduring love. True love is built in the everyday, seemingly mundane moments that often go unnoticed. It's in the way someone chooses to show up for you, not just once in a while, but consistently over time. The small moments of love are often the most revealing. They show up in the way someone makes an effort to check in on how your day is going or remembers the little details that matter to you. It's in the extra 5 minutes they take to make your coffee just the way you like it, or the way they text you good luck before an important meeting. These small acts might not seem extraordinary, but they are the threads that weave together a deeper connection. They demonstrate thoughtfulness and care, and they remind you that love isn't about the big things you do once in a while, it's about the small things you do every day. Consistency is the key here. Anyone can make an effort when it's convenient, but true love shows up even when it's not. It's about being dependable, being present, and being willing to put in the work day after day. Consistency creates trust, and trust is what allows love to grow and deepen over time. When someone consistently chooses to be kind, patient, and attentive, it sends a powerful message. You matter to me, and I'm willing to invest in this relationship. Love in the quiet moments is also about creating space for connection. It's not always about what you do, but about how you make someone feel. Sitting together in comfortable silence, holding hands on a walk, or sharing a laugh over something silly, these moments may seem insignificant, but they hold a kind of magic. They remind you that love doesn't always need words or elaborate plans. Sometimes just being together is enough. True love also shows up in the moments of inconvenience. It's in the sacrifices someone makes without expecting recognition. It's in the way they choose to listen when they're tired or help with something even when it's not their responsibility. These moments may not make headlines or earn applause, but they speak volumes about the depth of someone's commitment. Love isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up, even when it's messy or difficult. What's remarkable about love in the small, quiet moments is its ability to sustain us. Grand gestures might excite us, but it's the consistent, everyday acts of love that build a sense of security and belonging. These moments create the foundation for a relationship that can weather life's storms, because they remind us over and over again that we are seen, valued, and cared for. You must love yourself enough to believe you deserve real love. In a world that often teaches us to prioritize others, we can easily forget the importance of prioritizing ourselves. Self-love is not selfish or arrogant. It is the foundation upon which healthy relationships are built. Without it, love from another person can feel like an illusion, something fragile that might slip away at any moment. When you don't truly believe you are worthy of love, it can be difficult to fully accept it, trust it, or allow it to grow. Loving yourself means recognizing your inherent worth. It's about understanding that your value is not tied to what you do, what you achieve, or how others perceive you. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. This can be a hard truth to accept, especially if you've been conditioned to believe that love must be earned. Many of us carry the weight of past experiences, criticism, rejection, or neglect that have made us question our worthiness. But self-love begins when you start to challenge those narratives and remind yourself that you are enough, just as you are. When you love yourself, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You recognize the difference between love that uplifts you and love that drains you. Self-love helps you set boundaries, not as a way of shutting people out, but as a way of protecting your peace and your emotional well-being. It gives you the courage to say no to relationships that diminish your sense of self-worth and yes to those that nurture it. When you believe in your own value, you become less willing to accept treatment that falls short of respect and care. Loving yourself also means embracing your imperfections. No one is perfect, and expecting perfection from yourself or anyone else is a recipe for disappointment. Self-love is about looking at your flaws, your mistakes, and your insecurities with compassion instead of judgment. It's about understanding that you are a work in progress and giving yourself permission to grow without constantly criticizing yourself. When you approach yourself with kindness, you create space to accept love from others without fear of being unworthy or inadequate. Believing you deserve real love also requires unlearning the idea that you have to perform for it. Love is not about being good enough or doing everything right to keep someone interested. True love is freely given, not something you have to chase or prove yourself worthy of. When you love yourself, you stop seeking external validation and start trusting that the right person will love you for who you are, not for what you do. Self-love is not about being self-sufficient to the point of isolation. It doesn't mean you don't need or want love from others. Instead, it means you enter relationships from a place of wholeness. You are not looking for someone to complete you, but for someone to complement the love you already have for yourself. This creates a foundation of mutual respect and partnership where love can grow without being overshadowed by insecurity or fear. Love is not about perfection, grand gestures, or finding someone to complete us. It is about courage, authenticity, partnership, accountability, and consistency. It thrives in the small, quiet moments and begins with the love we cultivate for ourselves. True love is a daily choice, one that requires vulnerability, respect, and a commitment to grow together. When we embrace these truths, we create space for the kind of love that uplifts, heals, and endures.